recording?
It is Lima time. It's technically episode 134.
Why'd you say technically? Why? Well, it is.
We had a ton of like bonus episodes.
Okay. All right. My bad. I'll back off. My bad.
My last bonus episode was a freaking disaster. So
yeah, my mom. I was talking to my mom, and she goes, yeah, that soccer one. She just goes, yeah, not great. She just goes, not great.
It was bad. It was real bad. And
man. Good job.
I'd like to do it again, but not. Yeah, no. Okay,
yeah, so you've already apologized. Move on. You were a bad interviewer. It's fine.
To the Houston Dash to Rachel Daly. He's Pat. I'm James. Pat, introduce our very special guest.
Oh, that puts a lot of pressure. Intros are very, very important. When I was doing like the announcement tweet, I was gonna call her a white whale, and I was like, wow, she's not white. And then I was gonna call her a whale of color, and then I was like, well, I'm not gonna call her a whale of color. I immediately digress from that. Don't know why I told the story.
Really sad because whale of color is pretty good.
Yeah, I was just like, well, yeah, but it made sense in the progression. But I was like, I'm not gonna call Ashley a whale of color. That's just not. It doesn't. That'll be what gets me canceled. But super excited to have Ashley McHugh on. You are the white whale, not the whale of color. We're gonna stick with that. I like it.
That's the name
of the episode. It's been a long time coming. Unlike Bregman, who just keeps ignoring us, we've had the cat and mouse game, and finally it comes into fruition. And yeah, we're super stoked to have you on. So Ashley McHugh, everybody, round of applause.
Yep.
Clap if you're at your house.
Hi, thank you.
Applause.
You want me to read your credits? Doing Zoom yoga on rooftops, hates cockroaches, data signal iffy.
I didn't say I hated cockroach. I said, if I see a cockroach on this roof, you will hear me yell. And that will just be a cockroach yell. And
they live across in a nest like bats, which is very disconcerting to me, but I'll move past that they're flying into the opening over there. But I digress. All right. So, yeah, here's the show. Let's do it.
Hooray. All right. So who's starting? Pat, you?
Who's starting? How unprofessional are we? I realize that we are not
extremely unprofessional. If
at all. And
for years,
I do actual radio, and I have no semblance of professionalism, and you can't even tell that I've done it. So yeah, I've learned nothing. I mean, I don't have like terrible. But yeah, let's start with that. Ashley, how are you amidst all this? I'll just say turmoil. I don't know. That's the word. I don't know. Yeah, go turmoil. How are you doing? How are you holding up? How are you holding up?
I mean, I feel like textbook 2020. I have days where I'm like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Like, I have so much time to focus on like what really matters in life and whatever. And then the next day I'm just watching Kids Baking Championship. Being spied on.
I love it. This is incredible.
At me through the bedroom window.
It's a creepy episode to start. I really like it. People popping up in windows and hearing it. Great, yeah.
Who's the Edwardian boy in your window?
He has no respect for me. Like, do I do this to him when he's recording a podcast?
You are the guest.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. You are the guest. We have no time for this.
Like, what is he doing?
Tell him to beat it. Truth be told, tell him to beat it.
He needs to pull my move when he's on ESPN, which is don't get in the frame. What was I gonna say? The roller coaster lows. It's like, when I spend the entire day on the couch watching Kids Baking Championship, because truly, I'm like, there's no point in doing anything. Like, the world is falling apart. We'll all probably be dead tomorrow. If I clean up my house, it doesn't matter. If I eat, who cares? And then I had like last Monday, I guess over a week ago, was my last like big, just couldn't see the point in doing anything day. And then the next morning I just woke up like without an alarm at 7:30 in the morning. I was like, I need to transplant my pumpkins. Like, I didn't really like where I had planted them, and I was up at 8 a.m. digging up pumpkins and putting them someplace else. And I was like, I don't know why this feels worth doing today, and didn't yesterday, but I'm just going to ride that wave.
That sounds like a blessing. So that is good. That is good that you do have some optimism peppered in, and you have some focus and some clarity, it seems. And I felt like I did too at first. And I'm not like a big nihilist and a pessimist at all, but this is really wearing on me, and I'm turning into Matthew McConaughey's character in True Detective. I'm Carcosa is my religion. I'm making beer can animals. I'm not shaving. I live in a storage unit. Like nothing matters. Just going to hell. That's what's happening. Nothing matters. I'm a nihilist now. I'm an absolute nihilist. So that's good that you have some focus. I was focusing on my art and doing all sorts of stuff in the beginning, and now I'm like, will I make it to tomorrow? Do I want to? Doesn't matter.
And, so I was just thinking about this the other day. Like like the first 2 months of quarantine, I used to go to therapy once a month, just like on the schedule, standing appointment. And the first 2 months, I felt like it was going to be over soon. And I had never done a Zoom meeting with my therapist. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I just want to see her in person. It's weird. So I just didn't do it. And we probably got to like 2.5, maybe almost 3 months without an appointment. And finally I was like, I don't think this is ending. Like, I think I'm probably going to have to do Zoom therapy if I'm ever going to go to therapy again. So I restarted those. And because I took like 3 months off, now I've been doing like an appointment every Friday.
Hell yeah, turn up.
I'm back up to once a week.
weekends for my party people. I love it. Why wouldn't you? That's as healthy as you could be.
Right.
So you don't like the idea of a Zoom therapist? That's my absolute dream, is that hopefully coming out of this, doctor's appointments, therapy, stuff like that, where I don't have to put any more effort other than my presence into it. That's beautiful. I don't want to go to stupid meetings or anything. Nothing that is unnecessary needs to be eliminated.
I like going in person, but I mean, it's just not going to happen right now. But yeah, I was talking to her, and this past couple weeks, I started thinking about like when bad stuff has happened in countries that are older than ours. So you're like the French Revolution, World War II, like shit goes down. And I stopped. It was actually like a good ego moment for me. Like I stopped picturing myself in the middle of that conflict. I was like, why am I just assuming that during the French Revolution, I was going to be like at Versailles? Like, right. I'm not that important. So I was talking to her about it, and I was like, what if I'm just like a person who grows lavender in some tiny town in the middle of France? Like, what does that person's life look like? And once I started thinking about that, I was like, yeah, I mean, everything might blow up around me, but I also don't have to go to like the middle of the explosion. Like I can just kind of do my thing.
That's a super super good way to look at it, because you see like the old footage, and it'll be, war-torn World War II Germany, and there's just hell breaking loose, and there'll just be like a guy walking with an umbrella, just going to get some bread, right. Just like living his life with turmoil all around. I think that there's one thing about the human race is that, I mean, people are resilient. And if you're not having to be in the middle of something, or not, misfortunate enough to be, in the middle of something like that, you just go about your life. I mean, it might suck and not feel like anything else, but I don't know. That's a good way to look at it, because I feel like it's all coming down crashing.
It could be that the like going to get bread was like, he woke up like one morning, was like, I got to do something.
Yeah.
And the one thing was like, I'm going to go get a loaf of bread, like from the patisserie. And then he did it and just went home and cried, like for the rest of
or he was shot immediately for not having his papers or something. So, I mean, he could have been murdered almost instantly. So that you have to keep that in perspective. But he was out doing his thing. And I saw that a lot in World War II, at least, just the way Europe was. People just like buildings just completely blown up, just walking around, sitting there at the in the piazza or whatever. I don't know. Is that a thing? A piazza?
It's really piazza? Interesting, because it's like I have enough free time for like everything I've ever read or watched to come like crashing back all into one. So like earlier this year, I was reading Flaubert because I had decided I needed to do that, which is all just this like, he's a French writer from kind of that period of time, the French Revolution. I'm reading like like Emerson. I read
Yeah.
Emerson so long ago, like his essay on history, which is basically about saying like we as humans will literally always look at history and put ourselves in the hero's position. Like we just assume that we are, and we forget that there are just so many other people that exist that are like not the central figure. And
yeah, we're not the star. We always think we are.
Yeah, I just was like, I don't actually feel that important to this moment.
Is that a good thing? Can that be a good thing to where
No,
be able
it's
to
a
just kind of
great
like
thing.
all the focus off you? It's like if I don't matter, then I can kind of sink into the background, and there's no pressure on me. It is what it is. I don't matter. There's nothing. It doesn't sound healthy when I'm saying it, but it probably could be. And also, fun fact: Ralph, he actually went by Waldo Emerson. Did you know that?
I did not know.
Ralphie.
Where's Waldo Emerson?
Yeah, he went by Waldo. Hey Waldo, what's up? You writing today? He's like, yeah, I am. So shout out to Waldo Emerson.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's a self-hating thing. I actually think that the American psyche is like so doped up on like success that even saying like, oh, I might not be important in this moment is like self-hating. It's not.
Yeah.
It's reality. Also, like, just because you opt out of conflict doesn't mean that you opt out of whatever it is you're good at. So I was like, what if I spend 5 years and get really freaking good at doing one thing? And like,
do it.
maybe something, like maybe when all this shit is over, well, what made me think of it is like vineyards in France. Like they existed through wars. They have existed for hundreds of years. And like now, if I want to go to France so bad right now and we're not allowed to go anywhere. I was like, if I bought a plane ticket to France right now, I would be going to go sit at an old vineyard. And those people might have lived through so many times of conflict being like, well, what we do doesn't matter. But I, a total stranger from another country, would still fly to go there. So like, does it not matter? Like it obviously matters to me. So
that's cool. There's so many, that's fascinating to think about that kind of lifestyle, vineyards or farmers or stuff to where basically anything could happen and it may affect the world around it, but their direct life day to day does not change, one single bit.
Some stuff is the variable and some stuff is the constant. And I looked at this moment in history and I was like, I think I'm really good being the constant.
I like that. I heard everybody wants to rule the world on the radio the other day, and I was like, everybody does not want. I do not want. I do not. I was like, I do not. So yeah, everybody speaks. You're not speaking for me, sir. So yeah, everybody does not want to rule the world or rule anything at all. So please, keep your opinions to yourself, please.
So we went. My wife and I went to like a super progressive, for a conservative church when we lived in Nashville, and there was a
wait, what? Wait, run that back. Run that back real quick.
I got it. I'm close enough to Nashville.
I did too. I was just being an asshole. You don't have to say it again.
Progressive church for a conservative denomination, and
right. So your pastor there is now a real estate agent,
and he plays a mean acoustic guitar.
He is though, isn't he?
I'll talk to him later.
That's so good.
And there was like one day they were like the sermon was like, have the ego to be a nobody, and that's and also
join my mailing list.
Subscribe to my newsletter. It was like a really weird, like it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I like the church had been over for like 2 hours, and it was just still like sitting there, and then like
and I was hungry as hell.
And yeah, Kami, you might have heard that. She was like,
and they're like, we're closed. Church is over. You do have to leave. This is not the movies. It's not open. We do close. You have to go, sir.
Just like rocking back and forth in the pew like a psychopath. And
yeah, that realtor really, really hit home.
And then like within 6 months, like I'm a public high school teacher, and I feel like the problem.
You really think that was the impetus for like what your change in career, what you decided to do? That sermon was.
Yes,
that's great. 100%. That's awesome.
And so like what was I going to say? Like right now, like nobody needs to be important. Like we're all just, stay home and don't spread it and be cool to everybody around you. And
so simple.
It doesn't really matter right now. Essential workers do. Hospital workers, custodians. like people working at the grocery store. Those are the people that have made like our society continue for the last 5 mother freaking months.
Oh
Yeah, Amazon drivers, all that people that just made life even somewhat less unbearable. Like, man, unbelievable.
So nobody has to be important right now. I mean, it would be cool if the government and people in the government wanted to be important.
Yeah, right.
But like our job is right now just like mitigate the risk and don't try to like make a statement and be a hero. I don't know. Yeah, being a hero means you stay the hell home and just don't try to do too much.
That's what's so frustrating about this for me is that it's everything is laid out. We know we have all the information. It's simple what we're supposed to do, and it's just I mean, it's not unfathomable to me because people are terrible and we're awful. But just the fact that this just has gone so wonky and awry with these just so simple. Like just I actually don't understand it because it's just so easy. Why are we fighting? What the fuck is going on? Just stay home. Try not to get people sick. Social distance. Wear a mask and go about your fucking business.
I mean, it's bad though because the people who think that that's right, and the people who disagree think that they're right. Like nobody's doing it because they're trying to be like intentionally stupid. They think they're trying to be intentionally smart. And I think what sucks is when you get deep enough into a bad situation, especially a politically bad situation, you're like, I really knew my side until I didn't know my side anymore. Like, I don't know.
100%.
Everyone is so stuck in like whatever their side is, but like, I don't even know what's going on anymore.
That's the correct take.
We're cool, like cutting like logical corners to just like fit everything in like the square peg into the round hole. And I'm a big fan of square pegs.
Yeah, they're only
square peg.
The only really good functional peg, except for the leg. You do want to round it off. If you have a peg leg or a pirate, you do want to round it off like similar to a baseball bat. But other than that, square pegs all around for construction and carpentry purposes.
Yeah, I feel fine with it. So I fit in no round hole. That's fine.
Yeah. That seems like the correct and rational approach. And the further we drift from that, I don't know what is real. And that's the thing that I struggle with because it just seems so logical and simple. Like, why? Yeah, just the boxes and people stuck with sides and just the dissension. And I'm just like, man,
I think
just chill, bro.
Like, it's supposed to be on this or whatever, but I'm in here, so I'm going to talk.
Do it. It's Zoom therapy, baby. Turn up. It's Friday.
I agree with Ashley. I think the hardest part for me is that I'm an empath, and that literally, it's compassion. Like it's just doing one simple or two simple things that will help someone else, but oh no, y'all are impeding on my rights. Go to hell.
Literally hell. Yeah, the real hell.
This is the real hell. P.S.
The real literal hell, where the devil, with the real devil, the actual hell, the place hell.
We are fully there.
Like it's like, you're seriously this selfish? It's not a like, I want the last Dr. Pepper. We're in a pandemic. And you're costing people their lives. Like, this is not, but America, we're the friggin' Baruch assault of country.
100%. I couldn't come up with a better analogy. 100%.
That's pretty great.
that is 100%. I'm trying to find something. I'm not even gonna come up with anything just because that's too good. That's just gonna sit. That's just right.
The only thing I can say is my wife.
Okay. Oh, what? I don't understand that reference. What are you talking about? Is that the movie The Mask with Jim Carrey?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I don't know why I keep doing that bit where I say I'm doing The Mask and I quote other movies. We used to do prank calls on a podcast and we would just be like, "Hey, you have the DVD for Borat when he says smoking," and we'd quote it, and the Walmart lady would be like, "Yeah, that's a pretty funny movie." Like, "Yeah, do you have Austin Powers?" And just That's a terrible story. I don't know why I told it, but it was fun time.
Really weird. That's a really
Just
weird.
quoting other movies, and they would never correct me. They're just, God bless those people.
So-
An interesting tidbit about me is that I almost never watch movies, and so I almost never understand movie references. And people, I mean, the most basic ones. I think tonight Colin said something to me about Jurassic Park, and I was like, I have not seen that.
What is it?
He's
Whoa,
like-
oh no, the dinosaur. What's the quote from Jurassic Park?
Wouldn't
it's
remember
roaring.
because I hadn't seen it, but I gave him this face, this like, I don't know what you're talking about face, and he was like, it's Jurassic Park, and I was like, that
I want to know what that quote
I never
is.
know any of them.
Hold on to your
honestly-
butt. God dang.
Well, you know what? Movie quotes are the lowest form of comedy, and I'm a little bit of a snob about that. But all the unoriginal bros just they think they're hilarious because they quote Anchorman back and forth to each other in a group text. It's just like, you know what? We don't come up with your own joke. You don't need to say what Tom Cruise said to some lady in a
Yeah, I'm not
Gooding
going to
movie.
sugarcoat it. It's awful. It's pretty bad.
It's terrible. It's absolutely
like the
terrible.
epitome
There's
of like high school, college boy.
100%.
Yes,
Yeah.
all like
Unoriginal.
99% of the communication. Yeah,
Like
it's pretty.
that's not a personality. It's not funny. Like it's just and I love it. Yeah, just so great, man. Airplane, love it. But anyway, that's. It's the time. It's the time for compassion. If they truly enjoy wearing those T-shirts and the flip flops and all that stuff, and they're happy, like I just want love to be abound. So they can keep quoting the Big Lebowski, and I'll lament it silently.
I'm happy for them for that, but it's gonna be a 0% of the time laugh for me because I'm not gonna get it. Just never.
And even if you did, how good of a movie line could it be? I mean, I can't even think of a hypothetical situation where somebody, had a quote and just said it at the perfect time. It just would be like, okay, yeah, you said the thing from Casablanca.
I guess I do enjoy a movie quote if I know the reference, but I've watched like 10 movies 1,000 times each.
What
and
movies are those? What movies?
Oh my God.
I know what those are.
What are they?
I'm kind of like that
Definitely
too.
like all the Harry Potter movies.
Okay.
For sure. What else?
Gryffindor, the Sorting Hat, magic. That's a quote.
I just love Harry Potter. I really do. I'm so confused about J.K. Rowling.
Yeah,
and
she doesn't like trans people. That's one thing I'm picking up on. But that's just a little something I just keep. She's barely putting it out there, not really being too forthcoming with that. But seems to
she's
kind of hate
ruining
trans
a lot
people.
of people's joy with all that.
And then
but-
randomly announces that characters are gay after the fact. Like, JK, can you wrote your books, like go the F away. Just get the hell out of here. We just don't need JK's opinion anymore. What she did her thing. Get the hell out of here.
10 Things I Hate About You 1,000 times.
Beautiful.
This is actually really funny. A movie Colin has never seen that I've seen 1,000 times is Selena, because it used to be on TV all day, every day.
The best.
I've seen that movie so many more times than I've seen half of my family members. Like,
I respect it.
that it was just on USA like 100 times in a row every week. So
You can still buy a Selena T-shirt in a random gas station in like the Hispanic parts of town in Houston, and you could like I could go get a Selena T-shirt right now. It's fantastic. Yeah, she's an absolute legend. What a tragedy. But yeah, that movie is fantastic.
Movie.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not even like, I'm not going to say they're even like award-winning good movies.
No, they should.
They're just movies.
No, I don't feel like all the movies that I watch like that are not like that. They're movies that I love and truly love, and it's not a guilty pleasure. I truly love them, but I've seen A Knight's Tale like 5,000 times. It's my favorite movie. I love it.
Movie.
I love it so much.
You love it.
It's the best. and Wimbledon, anything they play on TBS or TNT, like I can get down with it. Like movies like that, love it. It's the best.
I think it's PTSD. I had like my last boyfriend before Colin was like a big movie guy, and he would just like 90% of our relationship was just like watching movies. And then like the other 10%, he was kind of a jerk. So I was like, I'm getting really
he kind of
it.
sucks. That seems that's two cons. I don't.
But he had to care so much about the movies and like the symbolism, and then we had to like talk about it afterwards. And after that, I was like, you know what? I don't have to care about any of this at all.
How pretentious.
That was the definition. It's fine.
I love it. He probably still does the exact same thing, and somebody's miserable in your old spot, and it'll never change. And so you can kind of take solace in that. Not rooting for his demise, but just knowing that He stays in that lane, and it'll never change. And he's talking about the foreshadowing in some foreign movie, some Portuguese movie that nobody's seen.
It was over when Walk the Line came out, and he got really, really into Walk the Line. And
What?
he was talking to me about how like our future was that we were just going to live in like a trailer in the woods in Tennessee and just have like a bunch of dogs. And
Cool,
I was
man.
like, I don't think you know me at all. Like I would never, ever, ever do that. So.
I love that that's what got romanticized. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go to Folsom Prison. I'm gonna wear black all the time. It's gonna be great.
But it had to be like anti. It had to be like he couldn't watch a movie about somebody being successul and be like, I have a dream. It had to be like, no.
Yeah, he probably loves
I
Joker.
did it on purpose.
He loves Joker. He's an anti-hero guy.
Yeah, big anti-hero.
Because that's the cool take. That's the cool vantage point to have. No, I relate to this terrible character that nobody has ever liked. This is the guy I relate to.
Yeah.
Shout out to that guy.
None of this is about baseball. Is it supposed to be?
Oh, you know what? Is baseball necessary? Let's go start there. Is baseball necessary right now? Is it necessary?
I mean, I would be lying if when it first came back on, like we watched first games, exhibition games or whatever, and I was like, I completely understand why people want this. Like,
sure.
I'm sitting at on my couch. It's like, it feels like some sort of weird, horrible parallel universe thing got resolved. Like we're in this year without all of these things, and like one of them came back online, and you're like, oh shit, like I feel normal for a second.
Right.
I get that. And I think that like MLB wants it to happen for reasons, and like players want it to happen for reasons. So like everybody wants it to happen. And I think if everybody likes something, then yeah, go for it. I don't know if it's going to end up, I truly don't know if in hindsight people are going to look back and be like, that was the best idea, or like that was a terrible idea. I wish I had that kind of like foresight to know.
Yeah. I don't think anybody could. This is just, and even if you thought that you had foresight, previously, like all things are out the window. I think it's necessary. It's good. And I try not to get too caught up in the, the crowd and the mob culture of, the season needs to end. The Cardinals were, at the casino, and the Marlins were doing the Macarena at some club late night. That's a new dance, the Macarena. It's hitting all the clubs. But just like, we need to shut it down. The season's over. It's like, why are we so reactionary and so over the top? Like I just stay in the middle. Let's just enjoy the baseball or don't.
At a certain point, like it might need to get canceled. It might, but like I can't know that right now. But you kind of work with the information you've got. What sucks about that is that as things get very, very slowly more complicated, yesterday's complicated thing feels normal today. So I think it'll be really, really hard to know when you're like in the middle, like knee deep in some shit. I think it's going to be hard to know like, okay, now we call it, because you're just like, well, we dealt with X, Y, and Z yesterday. Like you just get to that point where it feels like you can't cut your losses and be done with it.
Right.
And I know that like the big deal for the league is playoffs. Like everything beyond before playoffs is trying to get to playoffs. That's what they want to happen. And it's going to be really, really hard to turn that ship around if it means that there are no playoffs. Like that's a big loss. So
yeah. I mean, I feel like since they went through the trouble to try and have this season, and I mean, and I don't want to. I'm definitely no supporter of Rob Manfred and the front office at all, but I would assume that they did their due diligence. They had, their hypotheticals. They took the bubbles, the Phoenix thing into account, and they made the best decision possible. And I think starting the season, that it's really hard to just up and cancel it, honestly, unless it gets Marlins type, it just keeps happening over and over again, which is really possible. But I feel like
really possible.
And public opinion can turn something into a shitstorm so fast now that and I think that the sign stealing scandal with the Astros, that's when I really saw how the PR machine can fucking take something and just things can go left really quickly, and suddenly you don't know, up from down. And so I feel like the public outcry, everybody's so vocal about everything. That's the terrible thing. I mean, when the Marlins thing came out, I mean, Twitter, which is already a hellscape as it is, but just people just shut it down. It's already over. Glad I saw those games over the weekend. All right, baseball's over. Just that kind of shit. But that keeps echoing out there, and suddenly it manifests into actually season getting canceled, and we're all back happily reading old French philosophers.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna be.
I love how you
reading that
casually
in the
drop that.
stands.
Yeah, just reading this, just doing this and that.
My like classic move at the Astros games was to just be sitting in the family room in the basement, like reading a book. People would be like, "Why do you come?" I'm like, "There's babysitting here."
You're like a movie. You're acting like an actual movie character in real life.
It's insufferable, really.
Here's a movie reference. You're like John Moxon from Varsity Blues.
I think a lot of people are extremely exasperated by my energy. It's
No, you know what? No, I love it, and you're one of my absolute favorite follows on Twitter, and this isn't pandering, because you're 100% yourself all the time, and it's just refreshing on a timeline to have somebody that is interesting, talks about interesting things, is real and genuine, and also funny. Like it's a good follow. So I just wanted to tell you that it's nice, because most people, it's just, even the best people, Twitter's terrible. I'm terrible. But every time I see your tweets, I'm like, oh, cool, something interesting. Oh, something impassioned. Oh, she cares about stuff. This is great. Oh yeah, Taylor Swift, even better. Yeah, so you're a great follow. So anybody listening they're all following you. But if they're not, I would suggest doing that.
So go ahead.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I just have like one major rule on Twitter, and it's that I have to remember that I don't actually know any of these people. Like they're literally all just handles. So as tempted as I get sometimes to be like, you're a jerk, or like you conspiracy theory, whatever, anything that is like I'm directing, like the subject of the sentence is the person, and what comes after it is like an accusation of what kind of person they are. It's a hard no, always. I can say like that comment doesn't sound great, or like this word usage was not great, but like that's the thing that baffles me the most. Like how many people will just jump into my mentions and be like, you're this, and I'm like, I'm not. And like there's no way that you would know that, because I'm a total and complete stranger. But like you kind of get what you give. So like I make sure I literally never call anybody anything on Twitter.
That is absolutely the way to do it, because it's super difficult, because like you said, that is an experience that I would say just about anybody tweeting that has any semblance of an opinion, or just a thought, an original thought of any kind. Yeah, people come in. I have people that will rewrite my joke that I just wrote, for just correcting, coming in with talking about like they know me, like they know what my thoughts or my my slant is. It's so divisive and terrible and toxic, and I honestly don't know why I'm on it. Truth be told, I guess I like writing jokes and throwing it out there, but yeah, it's not a healthy place to spend time. It's an absolute hellscape. Some great people on there. Good stuff came from it. I got some good work in 2014 from it, so it's good for my writing career. But 2020 comes around, and I'm getting yelled at by the young Republicans about, you know what I mean? Who knows? I got a cartoon dog talking about something. It's like, okay, whatever.
How many times have you realized that you were about to respond to somebody and be like, you worthless piece of crap? And you don't, but like
I have.
3 tweets later, you're like, that is a 12-year-old child.
Yeah.
Like I did not realize that until just now that you are 12. I'm really glad that I did not just berate a child on Twitter. But that's on me. That's my responsibility to not be
100%.
berating people because they might be children. So
I've been mid-response, like trying to be like, how am I going to articulate this? How am I going to come back? And I'd just be like, what am I doing? I'm about to argue with a New York Yankees logo, a cartoon guy that says Bronx guy 69. I'm just mulling over how I'm gonna rip this guy a new one because he said some off color remark for no reason on my tweet. So it's just, it's
not worth it.
I'm really making a concerted effort to not add anything to the noise that's already out there. But it's really hard because there's a bunch of fucking morons out there, and some people really need to learn tact and lessons in life. But I guess Twitter isn't the place for that.
Nope.
And it goes back to not having any self-awareness, like, at all. And yes, I'm here. No, I don't need to be in the shot.
Okay.
Oh, the ghost of Kami returns.
It's a terrible angle, Pat. Stop it.
Okay.
God is a woman. We
have the very worst lighting in the history of Zoom.
We're working on it.
No, it's a nice ambient. It's a nice ambient yellow. I love it.
It's not ambient. It's not. It's very
terrible.
Alarming.
It's the sun. It's heaven. It's God.
So, Ashley, you're like, every single tweet that I see, I'm like, oh my God, yes. And I'm not stalking you, I swear. But
I'm definitely stalking.
Everything, I mean, I kind of am, sorry. But also, I appreciate how real you are. And if you want to know, your aura is like very blue.
Woo! Thank you.
Hey, what's mine?
I do want to know
purple?
that.
What's my aura?
It changes.
Yeah, that's so true. I'm like a shape. That's very true. Is it a dark red right now?
No, not now. It's actually kind of blue right now.
Yeah, because I'm in a good mood.
When you're real mad, it's red. It's been black before. That's when I don't speak to you.
Hell yeah, I'm like Jimi Hendrix and Bold as Love. That's pretty badass. That's a very good reference. I love it. I'm very proud of that.
Your aura switches between like your actual aura is yellow, but your project, not you, Ashley.
Cool.
Your projected one is blue, and they're both very good. Like, and I don't actually know.
All my friends have gone to the oh gosh, I swear I know that this girl's account, and I am currently forgetting it, but Radiant Human. She does like the Polaroids of people's auras, and all my friends have gone, and I've never gone. But I'm here for all aura readings. What?
I broke an aura machine.
She went to an aura machine, oral photographer in Nashville.
Yeah.
And it's a machine.
No, it's incredible.
Yeah,
it's really fascinating.
She sets something up, and then she takes a Polaroid of you and your aura.
And it shows it, yes. And I happened to be pregnant with my daughter at the time.
And you already knew it. And you already knew what her name was and everything.
Rude.
You did, though. You did.
But yes, she was like, this is real weird. And I was like, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to. I've also, you can ask James. I make street lamps go out, and
we need more of this on the podcast. Sorry, go ahead. I just had to say that this is more mysticism, more of this. Whatever this is, I'm into this.
Astros fans are going to be so pissed when they actually.
No, this is what I mean. I would like to actually start a cult. Yeah, we'll do some incantations to start each podcast. Yeah, I would love to get super weird with it.
Y'all probably should ask me some actual baseball questions for your listenership.
For our sake, for our reputation's sake.
Nothing matters.
It's like the last thing I want to do.
You're on here. That's all that's going to matter.
Yeah.
Literally,
we've hit classic French literature and aura reading.
Yes.
So nothing for the people.
All right, let's go. Let's start light. Let's talk about the origins of your beautiful love story with Colin. Did he throw a paper airplane with a spin rate that fell on you with high spin rate and fell in your lap?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Because all young ladies are looking for big spin rate energy, you know.
Oh my god. So I feel like we talked a lot about kind of the beginning of our relationship on the episode of his podcast that we did together, and
great podcast.
That was one of those that he got done. We got done talking, and it was 3 hours of content, and we were like,
"That's worth it, though."
Oops.
No, it's necessary. Sometimes it's necessary. It's just when it's contrite and it's not natural. But it's fine if it goes that long. It goes that long.
I will give y'all the intensely shortened Cliff's Notes, but I went to a public high school from kindergarten to 11th grade, just a pretty normal public high school experience, very diverse.
You're from Atlanta? Are you from Atlanta? Is that
From
right?
Atlanta. Yeah. So I went
ATL,
to a school on the east suburbs of Atlanta called Shiloh, elementary, middle, and high school. And my senior year of high school, I had like, I don't really know. I was like 16. I barely remember it, but I just came home from my last day of junior year and I was like, I cannot go back to school. I will not be doing that. And I told my mom I just really wanted to go to private school for a year. So she was very confused by that. She's an immigrant. She was like, nobody is paying for that. I was like, that's fine. I'll pay for it. So I worked at Phillies my senior year of high school. And I mean, I went to like the absolute cheapest private school because I was
talk about just having like the knowing what you want and doing it at that age. That's super impressive.
I don't really, it was interesting because it was a not normal behavior thing, but I just did it anyway. So anyway, I went to this private school my senior year of high school, and Colin was like the most beloved human being at that school. He was like homecoming king, baseball player, led the worship band. It was a Christian school.
Yes.
His mom's the receptionist there still today. She works the front office. Just like golden child of the school.
Freddie Prinze and She's All That.
It is very She's All That.
Movie references, baby. I live by them and I die by them.
You don't quote them though, because you're a bitch.
Lainey, so you're not hot. You're a nerd.
And it was literally that meme of Mean Girls where she's like, he talked to me on October 3rd, and he's like, hey, what day is it? And she's like, October 3rd. That was like our entire high school interaction. We spoke like maybe once. I think he asked me if I wanted like a chicken biscuit because he was getting Chick-fil-A for our entire English class once.
Still pretty thoughtful.
So after that in college, we started talking on Instant Messenger, like good old AIM.
Yes.
I was at Georgia my freshman year and had no friends and spent my entire days like either in my classes or back in my room watching like the visualizer in the background of iTunes. You know, you can turn it to the like swirly screen.
Yeah, you want to
just like
see if it lines up perfectly in the corner, and it never does.
Seriously, just listen to music and watch the visualizer and like crush Diet Cokes, and that was like.
I love Athens, Georgia. Just side note, that's one of my. I really do. I dated a girl that went there, and I don't know. I loved it. Even going back as an adult, just like I don't know, it's a super cool town. Just shout to Athens, shout to Georgia.
He went to Berry College on a baseball scholarship. So he was like functionally like with traffic, like 5 hours away. And I guess he was just like kind of bored and would talk to me on his Instant Messenger. And I was just really mean to him because he was like the most popular guy at the school I went to for a year. So I was like, I am not going to take you seriously. Like, I really thought he was full of shit. And then the more we talked, I was like, oh, he's like a genuinely not full of shit, nice person.
How long did that take? Not long at all. Once you just kind of got out of your own head.
Our whole freshman year, like, very casually spoke. Then sophomore year, you know, he was dating somebody freshman year. I was dating somebody freshman year. Sophomore year, he sent me like a Facebook message that was like, hey, how was your summer? And I was like, fine. I don't know. It was weird. We just kind of talked until he asked me for my number. And so we talked on the phone a couple times. He was like, do you want to go on a date? And I was like, are you fucking with me? Like, no? Yes? I don't know.
That's super organic and beautiful. I love it.
I was so brave as long as I was like, screw this guy, who cares? And then as soon as I like had something to lose, he was like, hey, do you want to go out? I was like, oh, I'm horrified.
Right, yeah.
I'm very scared.
As soon as the facade comes down, the walls come down, yeah, it's fair game.
Yeah. So we went on our first date sophomore year, so like fall 2006. Went to dinner. I like got a salad. I took one bite. I was like, hey, I'm gonna throw up in my salad. He was like, chill.
Did he actually calm you? Because that's always a super bonus when you have anxiety or panic, and the other person just like can bring you down to that level. That's for me. That's gold. It's amazing. It's good quality.
So at the end of that date, we like sat in my mom's driveway. He was like dropping me off, and he was going to a college like far away, and he was like, okay, well, I guess we'll just like keep in touch. I was like, do you like want to date or do you not want to date? Because I'm not
Laid it all on the line.
I just like didn't care. I was
Right.
like, I'm not interested in not knowing what's going on. And he was like, okay, let's date. So
healthy.
we like went home that night and like put it on Facebook that we were in a relationship after one date. It's like the simplicity of 2006. You're like, hey, I have a
love it.
boyfriend.
I'm having so much nostalgia just hearing the story, truth be told.
It's a pretty good nostalgic story. Yeah. Put it on Facebook. That was the night before Facebook changed from just everybody individually having their profile to there being like a generalized Facebook wall. Like there had not been a wall before that.
Yeah, I remember.
We announced our relationship the night that they transferred the platform to like a wall platform.
Yeah,
so
hoping it would just like get lost on the wayside. Nice. I see what y'all are doing.
No, the very first thing that showed up on everybody's wall the next morning was like Colin McHugh and Ashley McHugh are in a relationship.
Oh, it ended up being like an announcement to literally everybody.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And he got like 20 messages that were like, is this a joke? And I got none.
Why would it be a joke? God.
Because.
See?
But
the harkens of
a joke, and no one asked me if it was a joke. They're like, "Oh God, how sad for her."
They're like, good for you. Like, good for you. She's like, "Oh, okay." Is this a joke?
Interesting story. So I'll leave it there. Everything after that was, complicated. We've been together for 14 years. It's been a disaster.
Yeah, it should be.
And also, we just keep doing it. So
that's wonderful. That's the best. Yeah, I think there's something to be said for the developing a relationship through instant messenger and only talking and only have your personality and your wits to go on and your cool away messages. Talking like that's the best way. I've had some of my best relationships developed that way because there's no faking it on that. And also I think that door slamming sound should be brought back.
Oh my God.
Yeah. The second the annoying person signs on that you don't want to talk to, it's like, I'm offline.
That's such a male perspective. Oh my gosh.
I'm not talking about a female. Like there's guys and people that I know they're gonna message me. I'm like, I gotta get off. So that guy.
No, like a 17-year-old me heard the like door closing sound, and that's when I was like, my crush is logged off. We're not gonna talk today.
Hey, I felt the same thing. It's just like, oh yeah, it's the worst because that's like the one. It's like the one chance you get before you have phone numbers exchanged that you get to talk. So
I don't think anybody's surprised. Like the amount of work that I do on like Twitter or whatever, like no one is surprised that I spent my whole life on AOL Instant Messenger. That is not
was
surprising.
Twitter. That was
my
Twitter.
Whole life now on Twitter.
That was Twitter. You wrote your best jokes on the away message. Like that was absolutely on Yahoo and then also in AIM as well. Yeah, that was Twitter for me at least.
Yeah, it translates.
Yeah, just doing jokes in little group threads. It was pretty much the exact same thing. Sans the toxicity and whatever else is going on with Twitter. That's super cool. A love story for the ages. Maybe we shall make this into a very quotable movie and we'll sell it. We'll sell it. It'll be good. It probably would sell.
I feel like that's still not a baseball question.
Okay, so analytics. Let's get into the numbers. What if we just went a hard pivot into just the worst? You know what, James, you got a baseball question? I try to make it through every podcast, still keeping my love for the game. That's what I try to do. You want to rank your baseball cities and fan bases, and alienate a team that Colin played for in the city you lived in.
From the ones that we've been on.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Kind of hard to compare. Like I think that we were with the Astros for the longest we were with anybody, and they were definitely the best years of Colin's career. So naturally, the response that we got from the fan base was generally positive.
Right.
When we were at the Mets, for 5 years. That was his he got drafted by the Mets, was in their minor league system, and then in the big leagues with them in 12 and 13 portions of both of those years. And it was tough. Like he was kind of like an unranked prospect, like non-prospect. And so I don't think that people who even like follow the sports could ever have my perspective on it, and like, why would they? It is what it is.
That's what's so interesting.
When you come up in that kind of position, people are very eager to be like, forget about you. You don't exist, because that's an easy call. Like,
right.
If you're trying to make decisions, like even fantasy level, if you're trying to like make good decisions for your team, hypothetically, you're kind of banking on the people that you have evidence are going to end up being good. So most of the feedback we got from Mets fans was like, why do you exist? Like, you fill space. And I was
why
like,
why do you live in Flushing, you miserable people? Just kidding.
Just like, you're not wrong. Like, Colin was absolutely like, to some degree, filler. Like, in no way the same kind of filler that like a 35th round guy is going to feel like filler, but 18th round still definitely falls into like filler category. So
I mean, maybe don't we have enough evidence, at least from I understand that from an organizational perspective, where players are assets, and you know, some organizations more cold and dehumanizing than others, where it's like, okay, we know this person is this, that's that, we're going to pay attention to this. But from a fan base, I think there's enough evidence that says like draft status and prospect touting is in baseball especially, is just not it's not a very, very bright way or a smart way to approach the game. So anybody
for sure, but
you know what I mean?
Think about it this way: you buy like a $500 pair of like Gucci sunglasses, and then you buy like 30 pairs of $5 sunglasses from the gas station. And when somebody's like,
right now,
get in the car, we're going, you're like, oh, where are my Gucci sunglasses? And if you find like the $5 pair of sunglasses first, you're like, sure, this works. But 100%. Also, if you lose them, you're never going to think about it ever again. You're going to spend 0 seconds being like, I can't find those glasses. I don't care.
Yeah, you'll lose them.
And that's kind of how baseball prospects are. You know, like the teams that put $1 million signing bonus on a guy, they're like, where's that guy? Like, we need to find that guy. We need to develop that guy. We need to talk about that guy. And if you kind of lose track of a guy you spent almost no money on, it's like, why would you care?
Right.
And then somebody's going to have to be really lovable. Like, you're going to have to really fall in love with that cheap pair of sunglasses. You're going to have like a good memory or like something in order to keep up with the cheap pair of sunglasses. So
100%. I've graduated. I used to be an expensive sunglasses person, and I lost and broke enough pairs to where I am perpetually gas station sunglasses till I die. I will lose a pair. I'll buy 3 days in a row. I don't care. It's the only way. I'm finally free. And my team they've gelled. They've come together because we've all come together for one common goal.
Now you have a lineup of 9 $5 pairs of sunglasses, and that is the 2014 Astros. There you go.
100%. Beautiful. Way to tie it in. I love it.
That's
you can please take my place, do this podcast, give me freedom. I'm now free from my genie shackles. I can now go about my business. I'm finally free from this. That's great. No, that's 100%. Yeah. And I think that's why there's so many strong ties emotionally with this fan base and this team, and that's what makes with the sign stealing stuff and not even that, just the reaction from everybody else. It makes it so much tougher because people do not understand how much people that root for the Astros love that team and have just ride and died with them for the most of this decade. So it's I don't know, it's tough. It's just tough.
I mean, yeah, I remember when I found like on Twitter, whatever the like fan created web page was that kind of like tracked all of the trash can first
great
hit
stuff.
thing,
Great
whatever.
Stuff, by the way, that guy did.
Outrageous. Yeah. I 0% knew any of that. Like as it was happening or whatever. And I swear to God, like everybody knew nobody told me, because I would have not been chill with it. Like I would have not been like, yeah, let's do that. Not that anyone asked me shit, but it felt like, I feel like I had a reputation for sure on the Astros of being like the absolute last person to know anything. Like any gossip, any story, whatever.
That's a testament to your character, though. That's usually a good thing when they're like, you can't. Okay, we know we can't. This is a wild horse. We cannot cannot let it get there because we know what's going to happen. So that's like mob respect. That's just mob respect.
I don't know. People would be like 6 months later, they'd be like, well, you know what happened last season with blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, I have no idea what you're talking about, actually. Like, how can you not know that? I'm like, like, we've been talking about it 8 times in front of you. I'm like, yeah, I was just smiling, being like, totally, yeah, that thing. I didn't know. This, totally that. Definitely some people knew, and I was not one of them. But, yeah, when I found that website and looked at it, I was like, of course this is infuriating. Like, yeah, this, like, sucks. This is, like, a bad, fucking stupid thing to do. I think what sucks is that it's, like, when you really dove into it, it was really just at, like, the pitcher's expense. You know, like, it wasn't a lot of, like, games decided by it. It wasn't like,
Nothing.
the Astros were going to lose that game, but then they won because of this. It, like,
Nothing.
it really
No evidence at all.
It happened the most when people were like, well, this game doesn't really have, like, there's nothing else on the line. Like, let me see if I can get a hit right now. And that just kind of sucks for pitchers. So being a pitcher's wife, I'm like, wow, that blows.
Yeah, I could absolutely see having that perspective for sure. And like, and it did, like, with the Blue Jays pitcher that had the lawsuit and stuff. That was just like, I don't know his life, so I don't want to speculate and say that that's over the top and overreactionary. So
I don't think that I've read about the lawsuit.
If that ruins your career, then you were already on a slippery slope. But that's just, it sucks if it happened to you. I completely get being upset by it. But I mean, I think that the most frustrating thing is how good that team was, and how much that aspect didn't do anything one way or the other. There was, I've watched so many of those videos, and it was just fucking trash can, and Evan Gaddis grounds out to the shortstop. You know, it's like, it wasn't like, but the narrative is that they knew every pitch, and that's why that they succeeded. That's why they won the World Series, which is, it couldn't be further from the truth. And we've talked about,
if a pitcher changes the signs mid-game, like, it's over. You change your signs, it's done.
Do it.
And
why wouldn't you?
While that sucks in, like, the situation that's happening, that's also always true. So, like, if a team picks up your pitches because you're tipping pitches, or, like, it's come around the league that, like, hey, this is what he does when he throws this. If you don't change your signs,
that's on you.
With or without cameras, like,
it's on you.
When you do change your signs, like, the whole game stops. So, like, that whole game stops. So I'm not even gonna pretend like I know everything about all of this, but
you're 100% right. It's true.
There
it's
are
absolutely
a lot
true.
of situations in which there was, like, no advantage still, because the situation changed, or a different pitcher came up, or a pitcher changed.
Or they were wrong. They were wrong,
or they're wrong. Yeah. It was just such a stupid, pointless. It's such a dumb, pointless thing to do. So, like, when people look at it and they're like, admit that you're dumb, I feel like everyone should be like, yeah, we're
all stupid. Yeah, I'm borderline retarded. I probably shouldn't say that word.
No, you shouldn't. But
I love that word so much, but I'm not going to die on that hill. I won't say it. I'm sorry.
I think it was really tough for a lot of the guys on that team to immediately feel this, like, deep remorse, because they really did know that they were a good team with or without it. And when people were like, you wouldn't have won without that, I think everybody was just like, that's not true.
Not true. Like, it's not even close to being true. And that's the thing that gets me, like, riled up. And we talked about this on the podcast before, where I'm learning that I don't have any mental capacity for that battle. Like, you can't teach anybody. I can't educate the Twitter mob on how pretty much every team steals signs in some way, and that it's just that it's breaking the rules. It's wrong. I admit it, but it's kind of just one of those baseball things, and so many people just don't know that, and they read the headlines and they're yelling stuff. I don't understand how people are so mad and outwardly projecting and don't really understand any of it. I guess that's a microcosm for society. So actually that makes perfect sense. People just yelling. So that makes perfect sense now that I'm talking it out. But yeah, it's just like, you don't understand. Oh, it's hard to hit when you know every pitch is coming. It's like, well, that's not how it works at all. So you'd read the articles that are being posted, you might know something. But no, we just want to yell and have a blame scapegoat. It's fun for Dodgers and Yankee fans to have a scapegoat, and I get it. I'd probably do the same thing too, warranted or not. If I lost to a team, I'd do the same thing. Even if I was cheating as well, I'd be like, yeah, that's the reason.
All right, so let's start to wrap this up. Like, what happened?
Are you on this podcast, James?
I don't know.
Show?
I've tried to talk.
I'm tired of carrying this. I demand more money. I do demand more money to hold out.
I just get shouted down.
No, we love you.
So like what happened with y'all going to Boston? Like, what were the? You don't have to talk about this if you don't want to, but like, what happened with obviously with all the departures from the Astros pitching staff? Like, what happened where they let like Colin go to Boston? Like, how did the negotiations go?
Ooh, tough question. Out of left field. No pun intended.
I mean, it was kind of what we expected, and I mean, I think it sounds doomsday, like when you're coming to the end of a season and you're like, man, I hope we get a job next year, and people are like, oh my God, don't say that. But like, you know when you need to hope if you get a job next year. And Colin started out the season really strong in the rotation, like right at the beginning. First 4 games, he was great, just flying.
So good.
But he was so completely in a different mindset. He was still coming out like he had been a 2018 reliever. So he comes out throwing like a reliever. There's no sustainability in it. So it works 4 games. It doesn't work the next 4 games. Then, he gets pulled from the rotation. Then they try to put him back in the bullpen after
too quick, by the way. Very too quick hook on that.
It was too quick. I mean, I'm not even going to work. Like, it was a bullshit move.
Yeah. Big time.
If he had it's 4 good ones, 4 bad ones. You give him 4 more, you probably round back out to like exactly the same shit.
I remember saying that exact
every year before that. Like,
I remember saying that
pitching is not actually rocket science. You want to see what somebody's going to do? Like, look at whatever they did. That's what they're going to continue to do. That's what they do.
It was just so counterintuitive to the way the Astros had approached everything and the way they looked at the game previous to that, that it was such an outlier. It made no sense to me at the time, and it still doesn't. That it was like a shoot from the hip type thing, and I don't think it was thought through. And I don't understand it at all. It
wasn't great, but that's the thing.
No, not great.
Like, when you're the unranked non-prospect guy, you are the guy on the bubble, no matter what history says. Like, no matter if you've given a team a couple really solid years of pitching, like, you're not Justin Verlander, like, you're not Dallas Keuchel. I mean, Dallas has his own story, but like, it's just different. And so when it's like, well, let's make a move, people just make the most palatable move, and it's to say like, well, this guy who's iffy, we're just going to bump him. It was not good for Colin's career. I don't think it was. He came back straight into the bullpen, pitched a ton, got hurt, tried to come back, did not feel great, then ended the season hurt. It just looked bad, from like a picking up the risk standpoint. For other teams, it looked bad. So we just had no offers. Like, until spring training started, no offers from anybody. And then once spring training started, kind of everybody hit that week where they decided to start to think about kind of that role and that kind of player. So we had 3 offers. It was the Red Sox, the Cubs, and the Rays. And they were
all good teams. All good teams. All contending teams.
Yeah, they were really, really similar offers. There was not a lot to choose from. I mean, from a lifestyle perspective, I enjoyed a Florida spring training, us being in Atlanta, and then not having to do an Arizona spring training.
No Tampa. Ever.
And I think Colin was really interested to work with Chaim Bloom. Like, he had heard a lot about him and had a good feeling about him. And at the point where it's like 3 teams, 3 offers, they're almost the same. You're kind of looking like, okay, what's easiest for our life? It was AL East. So he would at least be on the East Coast. So if we were going to go visit him, it was going to be like a 2-hour flight,
right?
Kind of to wherever, and there was kind of some interest there from like a team standpoint. So, in an organization standpoint. So that's kind of how we made that decision. But there weren't a ton of options. I think had we wanted to go like as a minor league invite to camp with the Astros and see if we like, he
I know he
probably
would. He
would
did
have
everything
ended
they asked him to do. I know he would, but that's not.
He probably
No.
would have made that roster, but then it's like from the money standpoint, it's like kind of
No.
hard to make that decision.
Did too much for the organization. Yeah, no.
I mean, Colin's agent is a lawyer, first and foremost a lawyer. So like, not even from like an ego or like a what do I deserve standpoint, from like a legal standpoint, his lawyer was like, you should take guaranteed money if it's guaranteed money or potential money. And actually looking at it with spring training, how late he came to spring training and then it getting called up with the pandemic, like he truly would have been entitled to absolutely freaking nothing had he gone anywhere as like a non-roster invite or a minor league, you know, an invite to major league camp. So, you know, picking a guaranteed contract was the smart career decision, even though it was not the emotional decision we wanted to make for sure.
No, it's a storied franchise, and you got just the lore of Fenway and stuff, and that's been a good team over the years. I mean, that seems like the logical choice if you just take money out of it. You know, that's a pitch for the Boston Red Sox. That's pretty cool in and of itself.
I mean,
avoiding Tampa Bay and pitching in a skate park or whatever that stadium is over there.
I mean, he would have gone to Tampa because Charlie worked in Tampa.
Hell yeah.
Charlie texted him like every other day and was like, come here, be my
probably
friend.
would have thrived there too, for sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think he would have gone to Tampa. It was just literally, I think it was just like a slightly, I remember Tampa wanted a second year option. And he,
greedy ass Tampa.
It just, from like a contract perspective, you're trying to avoid that if you're coming in at a low point, which he was coming in injured, low salary, you know, like whatever he was going to get on that second year option was not going to be representative of what he could get if he had a good year. So. Right.
Yeah. You want to have a chance to play yourself into a more fortuitous situation.
Yeah,
for sure. You got any more brain busters, James? You got any more deep cut baseball questions?
No. I mean, we said it would be 30 minutes, and now it's been an hour.
Oh no, but see, this is one of those flowing things where it's been one of the things, and we had the fun witch section, and we learned our auras. We had our palms read. I learned that I'm gonna have creepy twin boys later on.
Alien boys. That's what she said.
To go with my two girls. Yeah, we all learned our future babies' names and date of births. So it's been great. It's been good. We've talked about life, love, the pursuit of happiness.
Yep.
Ghosts. We've touched all of my hot points. I'm trying to think if I have any. If I'm trying to think, then that means if I'm ruminating, that means I don't have anything.
So this is how an interview ends. Do you have any questions for us?
Why do y'all do this? What are you doing?
I've never asked that before. No, so don't.
Just go real business with it. Was
genuinely my first question was like, how do two people find themselves creating a baseball centric podcast? Like, I don't. Where does that come from?
Deep clinical depression and a need to be loved by the masses.
Okay, fair.
But also, pure ego. It was a terrible decision, and we're still doing it. So yeah, that's to our detriment. What are we at? 4.5 years, 5 years now? 2016 was our first year.
4.5, yeah.
Yeah, so it feels like we're part of the success of the organization. It feels like, and clearly it's 100% stolen valor. We've done literally nothing to contribute to the nothing. Probably taken away from more than anything. But yeah, so yeah, it feels like we're part of it somehow. I mean, I was demanding. I was like, I feel like Crane will send us a ring for this podcast. What we're doing, and
he will.
And Steve Grande will stop ignoring us podcast and give us our media credentials as deserved. But it's neither here nor there.
Oh, do you want a fun tidbit to round out? The podcast could round out this way.
Yes.
I found out that many people who host even largely popular baseball podcasts don't get media credentials. If they just meet people associated with the team who can leave them batting practice or BP passes or whatever, that's how they get there. So a very storied podcaster who has a podcast about the Red Sox actually has no media credentials.
That seems backwards at this point. I felt like that was going to change, but I guess you have to draw a line somewhere, because there's two guys in a garage with a beer neon sign behind them, and they're throwing out racial slurs and they're cursing and just, so, I mean, you can't, if you allow one podcast, you have to allow them all. So I get it, but there's some media quality podcasts, and I'm not including this one in that by any means, but I feel like some of the best journalism is done on the podcasting realm. And I'll get off my soapbox on that.
I'm just trying to put you.
Not that I want a media credential, I don't, but it's just
you could be making a lot of money off this podcast and still not have media credentials. It's not necessarily linear.
Well, we don't have either, so that's great.
when I got on with the radio station, it was like I was like, is this what? I was like walking on the field. I was like, this is bullshit. I was like, this is not. I could just go anywhere. I was like, this is okay. You're allowing this. It felt like it was big time imposter syndrome, but it's we definitely it'd be tight to have those. But what are we gonna do? It's a pandemic. Go hang out with some cardboard cutouts.
I mean, it's not a horrible idea. That's basically what everybody in the stadium is doing.
Do you think here's something to end it out. If your team does something bad, should they behead the cardboard cutouts and on live camera feed?
Absolutely not.
But behind the flag of like the team, just all Al Jazeera stuff. You just get like somebody's dog, and they're you get like 3 or 4 kills per.
No, when you bring animals,
no beheadings. Okay, I'll back off it. No beheadings. Okay, I get it.
Sorry, trying to delete it.
I'm on 2% battery. Y'all might just.
All right, that's it. Ashley, thank you so much for doing this. It was a really good time. It was an absolute pleasure.
You asked the perfect number of times.
Yeah, so it was twice. I pretended it was more. But thank you so much for doing it. It's so great. People are going to love this episode. I love doing it. And, I'll see you on the internet. Maybe we'll gang up and fight some anonymous people, some strangers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Also, I'm going to fangirl real quick and say that you're one of the most beautiful people that I've ever met or seen in real life. And I absolutely adore you on Twitter. And
Yay.
I'm not stalking you. Everything you post.
It's not stalking if I post it on the internet. That's willingly giving up the information.
Also, you are just the most stunningly beautiful person, that I've ever met on Zoom.
Agreed.
Wow.
I agree. I share that sentiment.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, Ashley.
And who did hit on me, and that's
your aura's looking kind of pink, Kami. It's looking pretty good. Looking pink. Looking good.
That's just the lamp.
Oh, that's yellow. That's yellowish. I can tell between hues and auras. I'm not an amateur. All right, let's get out of here. We're done. That's the show.
Yeah,
Thank you to everybody.
Bye, guys.
Shout out to the OVO Drake. We're out here. Goodbye.